All right, hello, welcome. I would like everyone who is attending the workshop to sit down, and then to all the Codex team members to stand up. I will introduce you, if that's okay. So, we have Tomasz, we have Arno, this is Csaba, Marina, and the man pushing the buttons today is Eric. My name is Ben. I will be talking and pointing at things. And I would like to say thank you very much for being here. It is an honor and a privilege to be here talking to you about this. So what we're going to do today is we're going to start sort of like a presentation. This shouldn't take too long or be any more painful than strictly necessary, but there are a few things that we should explain first. So I'll talk to you about the Codex project. What is Codex? Tell you a little bit about how our marketplace works. Then an overview of the setup of the workshop. So you brought your laptops, you can just follow along with the instructions that we will be giving you. And if you don't choose to follow along, that's fine. We will be doing the instructions ourselves on the projector, so you can still see, how it works and what it can and can't do. So, first of all, this is our team. You can find us at codex.storage. Anything that you would ever want to find about us, you can find via codex.storage. We've got GitHubs and Twitters and Discords and whatever. So just go to codex.storage. You can always connect with us further. Very handy. Codex is, so what is it? We are a storage network. We are a decentralized storage network and a protocol. We focus on data durability and censorship resistance. Among other things, it has a whole bunch of features in various states of completeness and research. Some of it's implemented, and we're going to be playing with that during the workshop with our implementation so far. So like I said, we have durability as a focus point, censorship resistance, we're decentralized, we're accessible or permissionless. So anyone can join the network either as a provider of storage or as a purchaser of storage. How this works exactly is a long story, but very broadly speaking, we combine peer-to-peer data exchange with a storage a market for storage space. So I suppose you all know when I say peer-to-peer data exchange, I don't need to explain that much further, so we will zoom in a little bit on the marketplace. So let's say we have some nodes, we have these circles, these are nodes, right, in the network, and we have some blockchain down here. I'm not going to say which one, but it's something that's like running our Solidity scripts that are like doing the smart contracts. So the nodes, I turn them teal here. These are the ones that have space that they wish to sell. We'll call them hosts. And then we have a yellow one over here that has data that it wants to store in the network. We'll call those clients, to keep it simple. So here it has some data. You can't really see, but these are three little blocks of like original data. And the client wants to store it in the network for a certain period of time for a certain price. It's willing to pay a certain price for the storage for this service. So how then does that work? The first thing that the client will do is we'll generate parity data, this data right here. So we'll generate 3 more blocks of data. And to explain that very simply, what that allows you to do is if you have any 3 of these 6 blocks, you have the original data. So either you have the original data blocks or you have one of the parity blocks or a bunch of parity blocks, and you'll be able to reconstruct the original data. So that makes it more durable, right? You need 3 of these 6, any 3 of these 6, and then you can get the original data. So that's very nice. You can then, the client will then post the contract for storage on chain, and will pay the price for the duration for the service for the storing of the data. They'll pay it up front. This goes on chain, and the hosts who are there monitoring this chain, they notice this event on chain, and what they will do is they will look at that contract and they will check it against their own resource availability. So they will check like how big is this data, how long does the person want to store it, what are the durability requirements, and also is this even lucrative? Like is there enough money in this deal that it's interesting for me to join this contract? So these 3, for obvious reasons, they decide that yes, I want in on this contract, this looks like a good deal. And so then what happens is we cut the data into what we like to call slots. And the slots are formatted in such a way that they have a combination of original data and parity data in some ratio. And then each slot is distributed to the different hosts. You might figure out already why we would do it that way. This is so that if any hosts fail and disappear from the network, then the data can still be reconstructed from the data that's available on the other hosts. So the host will download the data from the client, and then they will generate a proof of storage. So we have like a circuit, zero knowledge circuit, I'm not sure if it's zero knowledge, but at least it generates proofs. And the hosts post those on chain along with collateral. So they post collateral in the form of some tokens with some value that they lock it into the contract. And from the moment they do that, so I didn't draw all the arrows here because it would be really busy, but all the hosts post the proof and post the collateral. And the moment that a host does that, they are on the hook for storing that bit of the contract, that slot from the contract, for the duration of the contract, right? So what that means is that during the duration of the contract, and at some periodic interval, they'll be required to submit proof that they still have the data and that it's in good condition and that they are indeed online and on the network. So they submit the proof of storage, and should they fail to do that, then their collateral can be slashed. Should they repeatedly fail to do that, then the data might be in jeopardy. So then we consider that slot that the host was supposed to be filling, but the proofs are missing, that slot becomes available again, right? So the host is removed from the contract, the slot's available again, and new hosts can jump in to fill the vacant slot, repair the data using the earlier explained mechanism, so that this helps you like repair the data, and this enhances the durability considerably over longer periods of time. So sometime later, the client can come back into the network and fetch the data. Obviously, anyone in the network can join and fetch the data if they have the correct identifier, but the client being the one who originally uploaded, they have the identifier, so they can always get their data back while the contract is running. At this point, it's good to know, when all the slots in the contract are filled by a host, then they have all posted proof, they have all posted their collateral. At that moment, the contract is considered started. The contracts, they go through several stages. First they start submitted, then all the slots are filled, it's started, right? And sometime later, sometime even later, the contracts have a duration. So at some point, the time for the contract runs out, it's finished, so the contract then reaches finished state, and the hosts are able to retrieve their collateral, and they'll get the payment for the services they rendered. Right? So if anyone has any questions about this at this point, this would be a good time to ask. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. All right. So what we can do in the network, in the workshop, is we'll show you how to set up a node and join the network. We can do that right now. If you have a laptop and this sounds like fun, then you're invited to join us. We'll show you some basics, like how you get some information about the status of your node, which is good to know. You can upload an image to the network. We'll download an image from the network. Then we will show you how to start a request for storage, to store your image on the network for some duration of time. And then we'll show you how to get the status information of this purchase. Because like I said, the contract goes through several states, and it would be very nice if you could see how the data is doing. So we'll be doing that. If you notice there's one thing suspiciously absent from this list, it's that we won't be showing you today how to run a storage node. That was like a technical consideration. It's not all that difficult to do that, but it requires a zero knowledge circuit, and it requires some other computational machinery, and it's totally doable with your consumer grade hardware, because you have devices over there that are going to be the hosts for our workshop, so it's totally doable on your normal hardware. It's just for the workshop we decided maybe it's better we leave that one aside for the time being. But if you're interested, you want to do that on the public, on the online network, there are plenty of instructions to be found in all of our data. Just go to codex.storage and then you can find it. So this is the setup that we have for you today. We have a local network that we're running right here. It's just a Wi-Fi that you can connect to. And then on your machine, we'll run a Codex node. The Codex node has a web API that we'll be talking to, and it'll make a directory where it'll store all its data. And we'll give you a bunch of curl commands to talk to your node. But if you have some other tools you want to use to do the commands, that's also very possible. We provided some machines. We brought these. There'll be a bootstrap node that we'll connect to. It'll hook you up into the local network. And then we also have a bunch of storage nodes here running with very lucrative configurations. So if you post a request, then they will pick it up and they'll fill the slots for you. The one thing that we don't have local, this is what we're borrowing from our public infrastructure. We have a Geth node running, just running an Ethereum chain in proof of authority. So we're running that one, and it has our smart contracts on it. So we'll be talking to that to moderate our marketplace sales and purchases and whatever it needs to do. To buy the storage space during the workshop, you'll need some tokens, right? And you can go to either the Discord bot. We have a Discord bot. You join our Discord server. You can ask the bot. It'll give you some tokens. Or we have some faucets set up. Links to that will be provided. Don't worry. You just ask either of these things. It'll give you some tokens. Get right started. So if you're ready to start, please choose an image file, just a picture. Something that you don't mind the internet having, because this is going to go onto the network and then other people might end up with it on their computers. So pick a nice picture. It should be maybe more than 1 or 2 megabytes, just something that's a little spacious. If it's too small, then some of our proving things might run into trouble. So something between 2 and 10 megabytes would be ideal. And if you have that ready, then we can go to the instructions. So you can punch in this URL, or you can scan this QR code. It'll take you to an MD. These are step-by-step instructions. You can run them at your own pace, just however fast you want to do them. If you run into trouble, just raise your hand. There are plenty of Codex people around. We can help you out. If it doesn't work for some reason, we'll take a look. And if you're not that interested in going through the steps by yourself right now, we will also be doing the workshop ourselves here on the screen. So you can just sit down and watch if that's what you prefer. All right. Anyone, any questions at this point? Really? Yes, sir.
Why is there a less than 10 megabyte restriction?
The less than 10 megabyte restriction is just for the sake of speed.
Okay.
Yeah, so it doesn't take us that long to transmit data. So we weren't sure how many people were going to show up or how many people were going to join. And so if we all start filling the network with several gigabytes of data, then it'd probably work. It would just take a while. So it wouldn't be all that interesting. All right. Eric, you want to get started? All right. Maybe zoom that in a little. I'm going to put this thing down. All right, so the first thing that you should do, you should get onto our network. It's called Codex. Password's right there. Very inventive. We'll put a couple of instructions on the screen all at once. So the next step is to clone this repository. If you follow the link, then you have this on your screen. You can just copy paste it. You gonna do this? So you have it already set up? Yeah, go ahead. Well, that's maybe a bit small. All right. Is it working? All right, can you zoom this in a little? Because I'm imagining this. Can you duplicate your screen, man? Can you duplicate it so it's the same on the both? or that.
Make sure I don't have this already downloaded.
Can you zoom in the terminal a little? Yeah, that's probably better. All right, so this is a repository that we set up. It just has a bunch of scripting in it, helps you get started very easily, right? So it has a script that will download Codex binaries for you. You can compile it from sources, of course. The sources are available. You can, but we figured we had 2 hours for this workshop, and if we asked you all to install the entire dev env, then we'd lose at least half an hour, maybe 45 minutes, maybe an hour, before most people actually had the binaries. And that's not the point of this exercise. The point of it is to run the thing, not to spend most of the time building the thing. So we just put some binaries for you. Yeah, there's a download script right there. It'd be hilarious if this failed right now. This is step one. Okay. We got it? Yeah, okay. So the next thing we'll do is we'll generate a key pair, because you're never going to use your actual public and private key for a workshop like this. So we just run the generate. It generates a private key and an Ethereum address. It saves it to files for you, right? So the next thing that I'm gonna do, I don't think we're not gonna mint yet, are we? We're gonna make sure. So this key file that we got right here, Codex will read that, and it will derive the address, and that's the tokens that are on that address is what it will use to transact, automatically. So if you send Codex the instruction to purchase storage for you, it'll use that. But also if you rig your Codex to sell space for it, it'll be using the same address to receive the rewards for it. So yeah, the next step was to run the client. So okay, here's a thing that you should. Okay, so if you're on the local network, you will have an IP address with 88 at the third place. Here, 88, right? If you run the script and it doesn't show a local address like this, then you're doing it wrong and it's not going to work. So you might want to, at that point, stop, and you just set the local IP variable, and then you can try it again. There are instructions on that in the document for sure. But in most cases it should work, but in case it doesn't, if you run it and later on it doesn't work, and then check this, that might be a problem. Yeah, there's some instructions on something you might need for your distro or other operating systems, different requirements. All right. Yeah, there's how to override the address. Okay, we're gonna acquire some tokens. So we just created a new address. We're gonna send some tokens to it. You can do it in one of two ways. You can use the faucets, or you can join our Discord server and use the bot. Either way, it's pretty damn convenient. You just go to the site and you paste in your address. Yeah, it takes a while sometimes. Yeah, it looks like this. Yeah, you paste in your address, and then you claim your rewards. You wait a second, it takes a moment before it's included in the chain. Up to 12 seconds or something, I guess. All right, so you get 10 ETH. This is not real ETH, of course. This is just on our stupid test chain. And you get 10 TST, which is just our test token. But that's what you will use to transact for storage in this network. So it's just what you need. All right. So once you have Codex set, now we have Codex set up and it's running. So we go to another file where you can find some instructions on how to use it, how to get your first hello world out of the application, basically. So if you want to run this thing at home and you have it set up on your home network and you have your ports forwarded and all that, then you didn't need this part of the instructions, but these will still work. So how to use the Codex will be the same. So first thing we'll do is we'll just send this debug info command to Codex, and it just gives you a whole bunch of status information about your node. It's like, how is it connected? Is it seeing other people in the network? And if there's like connection trouble, then you run this command, and it's a good chance that you can see something wrong with the configuration, and it'll help you fix it. Right, so it looks like this. This is a whole bunch of JSON. Right, so the thing I want to point to, hold on a second. Right here you have announce addresses, right? There's that 88, that local address again. If that's not there, you're doing it wrong, right? Okay, so that's what I wanted to say about that. Here's a bunch of information about other nodes and whether you've seen them, and they can reach you in the network, so that's good. Yeah, these are the peers in the network, right? You have their IDs. All right, so the next thing we'll do is we'll upload that image that you picked at the beginning of the setup. So we'll have an image, or we make an image. Something cool. Cute cats.
Can I get a volunteer?
Anyone, any input? What are the cats doing?
Workshop. Fishing. Fishing. Ah, I like that.
We lost it. Oh, you you need to put it on images.
I think you have to log in.
Right.
Yeah, right there. Oh.
Yeah, you have
Oh,
to log in.
yeah.
That's because of me.
Much.
What did you do?
I deleted all the credits.
Oh no.
for the site.
No, but that's
Tell you what, we'll just go to Google and see what cats fishing.
There we go.
That's more AI.
All right. So is it big enough? Probably, maybe. I have no idea what that is. Oh, I like that one.
Can you do file size like?
You could, I think you could say large or something. Oh, nice. Cat fishing. Sure, why not?
What did I say?
All right. All right, there it is. How big is that?
So, let me go back to.
All right. So we'll use this curl command, but like I said, you can use any tool you like. We also have, it's good to mention, we have an open API YAML file for this API. Lots of tools or code generators, you can just load it right in and it'll generate everything for you. You can start using your Codex node with that right away. But we have some curl commands prepared. We just put the file into it. All right, so after you upload a file, you get one of these. These are CIDs, they are content identifiers. If you upload the same file, you get the same CID. They're like sort of hashes. It's a bit more complicated than that, but it has lots of to do with hashes. So if you have the same file, it has the same CID. Now we'll take that CID and you can give it to someone else in the local network. And if they have that CID, they can use it to download your file from the network, right? So after you've uploaded the file to your node, anyone in the network can get to it if they have the CID. So if you don't want them to have something, don't upload it, or at least thoroughly encrypt it first. And if you want to download something, then the command looks something like this. So you put the CID in the request right there. It's a JPEG. That'll still work, won't it? Right, so we go back to the node, we have the same CID, we put it in, we get the data back down. sure this is surprising absolutely nobody that this works. Yeah, but it is important, you know. No point in storing your data if you can't get it back out. So, excellent. All right, so at this moment, you have your node in the network, it's storing your file, and what we're now going to show you is how to make a request on-chain for the storing of that data. So we're going to spend some of those tokens and put a request on the chain for other people to store the data for you for some length of time. So, I completely forgot this is here. Okay, so when you're running a node, it's nice to be able to see what data the damn thing is storing. So we have a command for that as well, is paste that in right there, and it'll show you if the syntax is not incorrect. I don't know where you were running the node from. Okay, someone accidentally closed their node. 1 second here. These things, they happen. All right, we're back. Maybe, sort of.
The port.
Yeah, is that correct? You can run the there we go. You didn't press enter properly. All right, so this is a bunch of unformatted JSON, but what you can see, right, is that you can identify the data sets that are currently being stored in your node, and what you'll see is, okay, we'll make it fancy. What you'll see is if you rig your node for storing data from contracts on chain, then other people's data sets will just sort of magically appear in here when your node decides to pick up a contract and start earning tokens for it. So yeah, this is just another way to keep an eye on what your thing's doing. So then the next one is about creating the request. So here's the instructions for making availability. So if you want to sell your space, you use this one. We're not doing that now here for previously mentioned reasons, but these are the instructions how to do that. But what we are going to do is we're going to purchase some storage. So we use the CID again to identify the data that you want stored, and then there's a bunch of parameters I would like to explain for a minute. All right, CID is still set. All right, so we have a bunch of parameters here. You can click this link and get a whole bunch more information about it, but very, very briefly. Yeah, just show this. So here's the duration of your contract in seconds, so that's 1 hour. Here's the reward, the amount of tokens that you'll pay for. There's a proof probability that has something to do with the durability. This expiry is kind of important. This means that if not enough hosts have picked up your data set within this many seconds, then the contract is considered canceled. You'll get your tokens back, but that means there's no guarantee that anyone else is storing the data for you. So maybe, if that happens, the reward's not high enough, it's not lucrative enough for people to store your data, or maybe the collateral is too high. The collateral here is the amount of collateral that you require your hosts to post on chain for the privilege of engaging in this contract with you. So if that's really high, then they have to, put up a lot of money to be able to do this work for you. And so maybe that's not that interesting for them. So there's two more here. There's the nodes and the tolerance. The nodes is the number of machines that you want to store, the number of hosts that you want to store your data. And the tolerance is a smaller number the number of the hosts that can fail before the contract is considered lost. So if 2 of these 5 fail, that's okay. The data can still be recovered and other nodes can come in and pick up the slack. But if 3 of the 5 fail, then that's a failure of the contract and the data might no longer be available in the network. We of course hope that that never happens, but the system has to be able to handle it when that does happen. So, did you run the thing? Did you make the request? I think the file is not large enough.
Yeah.
We need a larger.
Okay, so
We need a larger cat picture.
how do we get a large file?
How do we get a large file? Anyone?
There's option you can
I can
choose.
send you one on Discord. I can send you CID and you can get it.
Oh, you got a CID?
Yeah, I can send you.
Yeah, that works. Why don't you try that one? So Tomas will send the CID, and then Eric downloads the CID, and then we use that one to make the
send one.
request.
Here, I'll do this one. I have it already.
Or that, whichever.
Alright, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna re-upload.
That does not look like a large file. Okay, so we're just going to go back a few steps, upload a new file. Because of course we didn't prepare an image to upload. We prepared like everything else except that. So it's the little things. It's always the little things. All right, we upload a new file, got a new CID. All right, let's buy some storage. Okay, that worked. What we now get is a new identifier. Can you show me the identifier for a second? I'd like to point at it. This thing, this longer thing here, is not a CID. It's the ID of your contract that's now on chain. So we call the purchase ID, we set that as a purchase ID, and with the purchase ID, you can go to your Codex node and you can ask, hey, what is the status of this purchase? So we do that, and we'll do it with some JSON formatting. Right. All right. So it has a bunch of information in it. It has in it the CID for which we are purchasing the storage. It has all the parameters that we previously specified. It has your address on it, like where you're creating the request from. And it has a state here, and the state is submitted currently. So initially it's pending, that means it's waiting for inclusion on the blockchain. This is submitted, so that means it's on chain. If we go back to the instructions, I wrote a whole bunch of, so it can have all of these states. And what we are hoping for right now in the workshop is we're now in submitted state that we'll get to started state. And what that means is that the hosts that we are running here for you in the network right now, they have picked up the slots from this contract, they stored it on their disk, they generated the proof, and they posted it on chain along with their collateral. And when the collateral and the proof is available for all the slots, then the contract is considered started. And then if we rerun that command, and I talked long enough, okay, not yet, but at some point this should turn into started. So to make this a little bit more engaging for you, Eric's actually spent a whole bunch of time working on a front-end application where we can easily see like the on-chain events and the state of contracts, and we can also hopefully preview the images. So,
Well, are you going to do this on a different node?
just give us a moment while we get that started, and hopefully it'll be some eye candy. It's a front-end application, of course it takes a moment. Yeah? All right. Yeah, so this implementation of Codex is, of course, far from finished, far from feature complete. We also, we know there's some bugs here and there, there's some rough edges. It's sort of like a pre-alpha version of the damn thing, but it should work. It should at least work most of the time for most cases, and we're counting on that right now.
I think it probably won't ever download this because I killed my other nodes.
The one that had the
The
file?
one that actually had the files. So
All right.
pretty good.
Ah, that's all right. Can we see the slots though? Maybe some of the slots go.
Hang on, let me just
Yeah, do your thing first.
this guy.
I submitted one that should be accessible now.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? You have a CID for us? We can try?
I sent it on the Discord.
Yeah, so if you're on the network, on the local network, and you want to trade CIDs with other people currently in the workshop, then our Discord server is obviously a nice place to do that. See if you can download other people's cat images. Where'd you post it?
The workshop rep there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was probably
Maybe the next one.
oh yeah. There you go. That's the one. Yeah.
All right. Oh, I should take a moment here. This request was created by someone 4 minutes ago. It's going to run for an hour, roughly, and it was started. So all the slots were filled. So if we scroll down here, oh, what a nice picture. We scroll down, we can see down here, we see all the parameters of the contract, like what the reward is, what the collateral is, the slots and the tolerances. And we'll see here the providers, the addresses of the hosts that filled in this request. So these players in the network are servicing this request for the remaining of its duration. So that's actually nice. It's working. It's working.
Well, that was the one that I put, but I'm not getting bored. This is also not getting filled because
Yeah.
what
I sent you the CID.
you on a VPN?
Sorry?
Are you on a VPN?
No. It
Yeah.
actually says that the contract has started.
Make sure that you're not on a VPN. If you're on a VPN, then obviously our machines can connect to your Codex. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it says started.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to go download this file.
All right. Fetching someone's CID.
Sorry. So, I mean, you can see that on the front end here, that it's not able to.
Yeah. So for some reason, this CID is not
No other nodes are able to
reachable.
contact you, so
But, okay, but then it says that the state is started.
that's the purchase state. So, yeah, basically, you're your contract will eventually cancel because it will expire.
Hmm.
Because no one's able to download the content and then fill the slots. So you're not connected to the local network.
I am. Maybe can you scroll up a bit? You can see the request ID.
The purchase ID won't show here.
Okay, that's not my request ID.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe it's a different one. It starts
Right, so-
with ED08.
What is it?
The request ID starts with ED08. Yeah, the fifth one.
Oh, you requested
All right.
15 minutes ago.
Expires in 1 minute.
Oh, it's filled.
It's filled. Yeah. So this one worked.
Yeah. So why can't I can't get that? I'm not on the ticket.
Yeah, so the hosts were able to get this data set and generate the proofs and fill the slots, but apparently the front-end application just isn't managing it. You know, that happens sometimes, I guess. All right.
What I'm gonna try to do is double check everything's working. So
Okay. I think what I would like to do is at this point, I think I would like to stop standing here and talking because we've gone through the whole thing, we've done all the instructions, and thank you very much for attending and managing to listen to me for all this time. And we'll just be around here for like quite a while longer, so if you want to go through the instructions or something's not working or something, just let us know and we'll be around to help you. But for now, I would like to say thank you very much for your kind attention.